I don't know how long I stood there staring at the lamp room door. The handle had stopped moving, but the whisper of my ex-wife still echoed in my head. "Honey, I'm home." My blood ran cold. Claire had been dead for 3 years. The storm outside screamed against the lighthouse glass, while dozens of pale faces floated in the darkness beyond the windows. Their hollow eyes watched me without blinking. Phineas was still among them, tapping slowly against the glass. Tap, tap, tap. Then silence. I backed away from the door, clutching my flashlight so tightly my fingers hurt. Every instinct in my body told me not to open it.
But another part of me, the lonely, broken part that had taken this job to escape the ruins of my life, wanted to hear her voice again. "Claire," I whispered. Immediately, the whisper returned from the other side. "Please let me in." Tears filled my eyes before I even realized it. The voice was perfect, soft, warm, exactly how I remembered it before the accident. The doorknob slowly turned again. I should have run. Instead, I stepped closer. The metal floor groaned beneath my boots as I reached for the lock. My hand trembled violently. Then, something hit the glass behind me. Bang! I spun around. One of the pale figures outside had slammed its face against the lighthouse window. Its skin stretched like wet paper over its skull, and seawater poured from its open mouth. Another face appeared beside it. Then another. Soon the entire glass dome was covered in them, all staring at me, all smiling. The whisper behind the door changed instantly. The sweetness vanished. Now Claire's voice sounded distorted, bubbling like someone speaking underwater. "Open the door, Thomas." The entire lighthouse shook. Down below, I heard the iron staircase creak. Slow footsteps. Wet footsteps. Something was climbing toward me. I backed away from the door just as it slammed violently from the other side. Boom! The hinges rattled. Another slam. Boom! Dust fell from the ceiling. I realized the lock wouldn't hold much longer. Panicking, I looked around the lamp room for anything I could use. My flashlight beam landed on Phineas's old emergency flare gun hanging beside the dead light mechanism. I grabbed it immediately. Outside, lightning flashed across the ocean, illuminating hundreds of figures standing in the storm below the lighthouse. They covered the rocks surrounding the tower like corpses washed ashore. And every single one of them was staring upward at me. Then I heard something else. A voice beside me. Not outside. Inside the lamp room. I turned slowly. Phineas stood in the corner. Or at least, something wearing Phineas's face. His skin looked gray and swollen, dripping seawater onto the floor. His empty eyes reflected the flashlight beam like dead fish scales. "You shouldn't have answered her," he rasped. I nearly dropped the flare gun. "You're dead," I whispered. Phineas tilted his head unnaturally far to one side. The sea doesn't let us die. The door behind me exploded inward. A freezing wind rushed into the room, carrying the smell of salt, decay, and something ancient. The staircase beyond was completely dark except for one figure standing at the top. Claire.
At least, it looked like Claire. Her white dress hung soaked against her body. Long black hair covered most of her face. Water dripped steadily from her fingertips onto the iron floor. "Thomas?" she whispered softly. I wanted to believe it was really her. God help me, I wanted to. She took one slow step forward. I noticed her feet weren't touching the ground. My stomach dropped. Her head twitched suddenly, then snapped upward. The face beneath the wet hair wasn't Claire anymore. Its mouth stretched impossibly wide, revealing rows of blackened teeth. The thing screamed. Not like a human, like metal scraping underwater. Every face outside the lighthouse began screaming too. The sound was unbearable. I fired the flare gun without thinking. The bright red flare exploded across the lamp room, bathing everything in blood-colored light. The creature wearing Claire's face shrieked and recoiled backward down the stairs. Phineas lunged into the shadows, his body twisting unnaturally as the flare burned. Outside, the pale figures began dissolving into black water beneath the crashing waves. The lighthouse shook apart around me. As the tower collapsed into the sea, I heard one final whisper carried by the storm. "We'll be waiting beneath the waves."